ya. I'm just getting my things ready for a hike. But while you're here, let me tell you about an awesome program we have starting in the spring of 2022 called the Trailblazer Program. This is a program for all you outdoor lovers that love to hike and even those that would be interested in learning more. So be on the lookout for a program called Trailblazers in 2022 and how you can get involved. Something else super exciting that our council is now going to be offering is a gear rental program. This will make taking a hike or even an overnight trip less expensive. This will also give you guys the chance to try out some new things and earn some new badges all along the way. Isn't that exciting? Taking a hike can be super simple, from a 5 to 10 minute hike to a couple of hours on the trail, or even to staying the night on the trail. In our council Google Classrooms, there are classes you can take to earn many outdoor badges and get yourself set and ready to hike on the backpack trip. I'm actually about to head out on a little hike myself, but before I do that, I wanted to introduce one of our staff members, Myra Collins. She is an avid backpacker and she loves the outdoors. Myra has taken Girl Scouts on many outdoor adventures, to Land Between the Lakes, to Sipsey, and other hiking trips. In her spare time, Myra actually has been able to hike over 1,200 miles of the Appalachian Trail, or the AT as backpackers call it. The Appalachian Trail is over 2,100 miles and runs through 14 states, beginning in Georgia and ending in Maine. That's really long. All right, guys, let's welcome Myra Collins as she's going to give us some expert tips on hiking and backpacking, and then I'll see you guys out on the trail.
Hi guys, now that you've learned about hiking and your love for the outdoors, let's take it to the next level. You can go on what we call backpacking trips. It's one of my favorites. I love exploring nature, and sometimes there's this scenery in these places that you have to actually spend the night on the trail so you can get to them, such as an amazing waterfall or an outcropping of rocks or a scenic view. And so you need to do what's called backpacking, and that's actually taking everything that you need for an overnight in your backpack, on your back, as you hit the woods. So let's explore and see what all I take, the tips of the trade, as I go backpacking. One of my favorite places to go backpacking is a place called the Appalachian Trail. It runs from Georgia to Maine, 2,167 miles long. Yep, it's taken me about 12 years and I've done a little over half, about 1,000 miles, 1,200 miles actually, of the Appalachian Trail. I couldn't do that without being prepared. And being prepared is making sure that you plan for your trip. So the Appalachian Trail has what's called the AT guide, and it shows every aspect of the trail, your map, where you can stay, the overnight shelters, the distance, the elevation change, and where you can, most importantly, get water, because you have to filter your own water when you're backpacking in the backcountry. So in order to do that, and to keep up with where I've been or where I'm going, I use a hiking log. And this is where I write down the plan for the trip, but also contingencies. So you always have to be prepared for emergencies, like where you're going to get off just in case it doesn't work. So let's talk a little bit more about planning for your trip. Once you're out on the trail and you're having such a great time, one important thing to remember is to make notes about where you've been. So I actually take this outdoor journal with me, and I'll log the cool things that have happened while I'm out on the trail, where the water was, where there was really cool scenery, things that you want to remember or you want to pass along, or in case you go back to that same location, you want to make sure that you see it again or you share it with a friend. The other thing that they have on the AT is what's called the Appalachian Trail Passport. This is really cool. It's one of my favorite things to do. Different locations have these stamps that you can collect along the Appalachian Trail. And so as you can see, I've got quite a few stamps in my passport, and I love adding to them. It's a great reminder of where you've been in those amazing trips in the backcountry. Now that we've got our trip all planned, I wanted to go over some of the items in my backpack that make the trip more enjoyable for you. There's several things that I've learned over the years, and I thought I would share a little bit about them. First of all, make sure you have a good, comfortable fitting backpack. I mean, you're going to be wearing it for several days, and it's going to weigh somewhere between 20 and 30 pounds. So you want to make sure that it fits comfortably and it doesn't rub you in the wrong spots. So make sure you get a good fitting backpack. That's number one. So when we get to the campsites every night, you don't want to just lay your backpack on the ground, or because it will get dirty or it could get wet. So one thing that I've made that I take with me is a pack hanger. So I made it out of a little wood dowel, a piece of string. I loop it around the tree. It has different lengths in it. So I'm not tying it on, it just loops through, and I get to hang my backpack from the tree. And then once it's hung up, I take just a plain garbage bag and I wrap over my backpack, and that keeps any dew or moisture or rain from getting on my backpack, because let me tell you, a wet backpack is not a fun backpack. After that, there's a few things when I'm packing that I like to do. I've got these dry bags. I put everything in a dry bag, even inside your backpack. You want to make sure, like I said, that nothing gets wet, so you want to keep them in a dry bag. You can get these 3 for like $12 at Walmart. Super inexpensive, but it saves you a lot of worry along the trail. After that is my cook set. So once you're out on the trail, you have to make your own food. So I have actually made the cover that my cook set goes in, and it does double duty for me. So it holds the gas that I use for my cook set, for my stove. It holds the cook set itself. You get it out here. And my cook set includes a frying pan, which is also a lid, a cup, and a pot. The pot's what I boil my water in. And then the stove itself. I know it's hard to believe, but yes, this tiny thing, that's a backpacking stove. It weighs just a few ounces, but it has been my faithful friend for several trips now. So a lot of people ask me when I'm going through doing backpack training, what is the one thing that you couldn't do without on the trip? And some of them want to take fire starters, or they even want to like rub 2 sticks together to get a fire going. But without a doubt, the one thing that's invaluable for me is this little thing right here. It's a big lighter, 99 cents. Doesn't matter if it gets wet. I've dropped it in the creek. It still lights. You can't do without fire when you're on the backcountry. This is the best investment, 99 cents, big lighter. Make sure you have a couple of them with you when you're going backpacking, and you'll never go wrong. Now that we've got our cook set all set up, another question that I get often is, what do you eat on the trails? Well, it's freeze-dried meals. These are 2 of my favorite. We have herbed mushroom risotto, which I love, and smoked 3-bean chili. So boil your water in your stove. Then I'm going to open this up, pour the water in, and then something that I made several years ago is this Set Koozie. So you drop your meal down in your koozie, like this, pull the drawstring, and let it cook. It's usually 10-15 minutes and you're ready to eat. So the way I made this is I took an ironing board cover. If you can see, there's the reflective cover on the inside, and then I just cooked some really cute material on the outside, stitched it up, added a drawstring. I've got my spoon that's clipped on here because you want to be able to stir in your water into your freeze-dried meals. And then the last thing that I have is my built-in napkin. So it's a dry towel. So I like to have that really handy with my cook set. Also, when I'm done, clean it up, wipe it up, store it back in there, and you're ready to hit the trail again. Okay, so a few other essentials that you're going to take with you when you go backpacking. Always, 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 you're going to have a first aid kit. Very important. You're going to be prepared for any emergencies, and everything I need is right here in this little pouch. But there's also a few other comforts of home that I like to take with me. Let me share those with you. So I found out several years ago that I really like washing my face when I get to the campsite. And this is done really well over the years. So I've taken the little travel bottle and I put some face wash that's in it. It actually has alcohol in it, so you can actually use it as first aid if you need to and have to wash out a cut. So it does dual duty. And you know, your hands get kind of grimy. So I wash my face. I've taken this little Icebreakers gum holder and I put in here little cotton rounds, and it keeps my cotton rounds that I wash my face with all dry, and I don't have to worry about them getting messed up. So wash my face with a cotton round, I wash my hands with a cotton round, and I just feel a little bit cleaner. I know it's being a girl on the trail, but it makes me happy. The other thing that I like to take with me, another girl item, is a brush. I like to be able to brush my hair and, you know, check it out after you do that. So, little handy compact brush. And then the collapsible toothbrush. The last thing I wanted to show you was the hand soap that I have. It's actually little sheets of hand soap. So you can put that in there, add a little water, and wash your hands and get all cleaned up. Like I said, it's the little comforts of home, but when you're out on the trail up to 7 days, then those little comforts, they make a big difference. So finally, where do you get your water? Well, you are always hiking usually by a stream, or there's also springs that are along the Appalachian Trail that you can pump from. They're listed in your backpacking guide, and so you know where your water is. So it's always really important to be prepared and make sure you never run out of water. So I take with me these bladders, and this is an Osprey bladder, and I fill it up with water before I leave, and I make sure it's always full when I go with me. I take a water filter, it's a pump that you can put down in the creek, and it filters all the water for you. So you make sure you fill it up, drink along the way, and then when you get to your campsite that night, this is also where I pull the water from to cook my meals. So the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is what to wear when you go backpacking. So I've gone through a lot of different things that I like to wear over the years, but this is kind of what I've settled on. First thing, it's important to note that you always want to plan on it being 10 degrees cooler than whatever your weather out says. So if it says it's going to be 50 degrees outside, you need to wear clothing prepared for 40 degrees outside. It's always colder when you're out on the trail. The other thing is to dress in layers. If you'll see, I've got a t-shirt on, and then I've got an over fleece over that. The other thing that I like hiking in, and I'll show you, are leggings with pockets. They're very important to have pockets on the side. So that's what I like to hike in. The other thing is boots, socks and boots. You want to make sure you're taking care of your feet when you're backpacking because they're your foundation. So good hiking boots, they come up over the ankles so you don't roll them. Nothing is worse than a sprained ankle on the trail, and good socks. The other thing that I like to wear, and I don't have them on right now, but these are called Gators. And they go up over your boots, they cover your socks, and it keeps dirt from getting down in between your shoe and your sock. So any kind of small pebbles or dirt like that is going to cause blisters. And blisters when you're backpacking are so not fun. So I always wear Gators, so I'll make sure I put those in my backpack. Finally, once I get to my campsite for the night, the first thing I want to do is get these boots off. You've been hiking in them all day, your feet are hot, and you want just to sit back and relax. So I take with me some sandals. So they're sandals that don't have toe loops or anything in them because I want to leave my socks on, especially in the cooler weather, and slip on my camp sandals. So these are dual duty. Everything I take really has multiple purposes. But if I come to a really bad water crossing, I don't want to get my boots wet, so I'll take them off and I'll put on my sandals and I can cross the water. Then also, like I said, when I get to the campsite at night, I want to put on something that's comfortable but still supportive for my feet. So I'll put on my camp sandals. So we're going to put those in this outside pocket. And then finally, the last piece of equipment that I wanted to share with you that I like to take with me when I'm going backpacking is my hiking poles. Now these adjust, but when you're hiking and you have the weight that's on your back and you are crawling up and over rocks in different levels of terrain, then it can be kind of easy to lose your footing sometimes. So these are like a natural extension. You know how you reach out and grab a wall when you're about to trip? Well, in nature, there's no walls. So you have your hiking sticks, and that's just something to give you a little bit extra support. So I adjust these to my height, and this is where I kind of like them. And you know, your arms just loop right through here. And after a while, it just becomes second nature to walk with hiking sticks. I really enjoy them. They save your knees. They help you kind of ski along the ground and the trail, so you kind of move along faster when you need that extra little motivation. And like I said, if you happen to trip, it's something to help you catch as you're going down.